massive thank you to Leandro, Michael, Anthony, and I am Luke for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone, and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 5 of Season 2 of our F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. If you missed out yesterday's from Baku, what are you doing? Go back and check it out. The most ridiculous race I think I've had on the Formula 1 2021. Well, there's no doubt about it. It is the most ridiculous race I've had on F1 2021 so far. Maybe up there as one of the most ridiculous Formula 1 races I've had ever on this channel as well. So definitely worth going back and giving a watch. Heading though towards the Canadian Grand Prix this weekend. Obviously, like I said in the last one, we're trying to do some quality control upgrades at the moment. So we'll get another one on ready for the chassis department. We have got the potential to do another couple of upgrades as well there. You can see we're now ahead of Alpine still at this stage of the year. We have got quite a few upgrades though in the works that should be ready over the next couple of Grand Prix weekends there. Now, is it worth going? The aero and the chassis still pretty even, slightly below the engine. But I think we've got every chassis upgrade we possibly can at the moment. We need to do the halo once again there. So that should be ready just after Canada. Ready for France next time round. We've got 897 points. We'll go with the diffuser refined straight position as well there. And that should be ready for the French Grand Prix as well in a couple of weeks' time. So you can see all those upgrades then, 7 currently in the works. Oh, sorry, no, 6, sorry, even I should say currently in the works. Let's head towards this weekend then, see if we get any more.
We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for this weekend has failed. Any redevelopments will need to be ordered from the R&D screen.
Absolutely love that on F1 2021. So we're going to have to go for the tyre blanket upgrade again. This is why I'm doing all the quality control upgrades at the moment as well there. That is 376, and the crankshaft as well is 283. So we could earn those points over the course of free practice, but yeah, for us though, we'll see if the MGU H improved materials, there we go, they've gone on. Yeah, so we should be able to get at least one of those upgrades sorted in practice. Let's dive into the Canadian Grand Prix. So free practice then back at the picturesque Circuit du Villeneuve circuit this weekend. Was an interesting race for us last year. We've had a few interesting Grand Prix around this track in the past. Always used to love this place, but the new curbs on F1 2021 have made it a very, very difficult venue to try and get hooked up. However, we've got to remember as well, after free practice, we need to change over a couple of the engine components. Fingers crossed that won't give us a penalty. Coming towards the end of our free practice race simulation run. Great purple score.
You've nailed what we asked for. Keep it up.
We really do need the purple score on all 3 though, if we want to try and get both those upgrades sorted. At the final corner then, that is going to be the track climatization. That should be purple as well. A couple of cars going side by side down towards the final couple of corners there. That was a little bit close between the McLaren and I think it was one of the Red Bulls. But at the final turn, it's going to be 3 out of 3 purple scores. That's things you love to see. So there we go then, 3 purple scores, 600 out of 600 R&D points you can see at the bottom of your screen there. But yeah, we do need to change over the ICE. Are we going to need anything else doing? I don't think anything else is too bad. Oh, the control electronics are pretty worn out, and Canada is not a fun track for the, obviously, a lot of curbs around here, so we might have to go with our second control electronics as well. Don't really want to risk it. I feel like after last weekend, where everything went so well, we've got a bit of a missile down the straights, and Canada, again, quite a top-end heavy track. Let's dive into qualifying. Right, so upgrades all sorted then. Let's dive into qualifying here for the Canadian Grand Prix. Have to be making consistent Q2s now. How bad would that look if we win a Grand Prix and then don't make it into Q2 at the very next race on raw pace alone? We need a big result here. Esteban Ocon set an 8-0. There is Tsunoda sets a 7-4. Every time I see Tsunoda go fastest, I think, wow, fair play in that AlphaTauri. And then remember, of course, he's in the Merc now. So top guys here are probably going to be running low 7s. We might see a few people sneak to the 6s. Here in Q1, but if we can be down in the 7s, that would be rather good. So we're heading towards the final couple of corners. Let's see if we can nail the final chicane. Right, just after the 100 ball there, take a lot of curb on the way in. Try to avoid the exit curb there, down towards the line. 106, 107, 107.6 ahead of Ocon.
1 lap of fuel remaining.
2 tenths behind Tsunoda there. As I say that, Gasly in the other, well, in the actual AlphaTauri, he's done really well to be P2. So there we go, at the end of Q1 then, only going for the one run there as Hamilton down on a 106.7. Lance Stroll, of course, already a Grand Prix winner. Only a tenth behind him in the Aston Martin, but we just scrape it through into Q2 there. Schwartzman, though, out in Q1 for the first time this year, if I'm not mistaken. They're down in P20. What on earth went wrong for our teammate? Just no pace at the end of that session there. I think we've still got a few more tenths in the car. We could be looking towards Q3 here. But what went wrong for our teammate down out in Q1? He might have some grid penalties to contend with as well. Let's dive into Q2. Right, so at least we've out-qualified our teammate 2 Grand Prix running now. Seem to be building up a little bit of extra momentum there, but really worried about how Schwartzman ended out in Q1 of the Canadian Grand Prix. This should have been quite a good track for both of the cars. But let's just focus on our own qualifying now then, see if we can try and get into Q3. Right, down in towards the final couple of corners. Felt like a pretty tidy run for our first lap. Obviously just want to try and get another good banker on the board there as you attack the curbs out of the final corner down towards the line. Hopefully it's going to be about the same time as we did in Q1. 7.999 is not great to start the session, but we get another run in. Hopefully we'll move ourselves up the order. Right, here we go then. Final run here in Q2. Down in P15 at the moment, and Bottas might be able to go quicker than us. So we need to try and drag everything out of the car on this final run there. A lot of curb through turn 1. Nice run through turn 2 as well. There, the first sector was quite good on our previous lap, so we'll wait and see as to what we can do there. Again, taking a lot of curb through the rest of Sector 1. Then now we're into the green as we head in through Sector 2. They're struggling a little bit just to get the car slowed down, get it all over that inside curb, and then really roll on the power on the exit of the corner. They're so easy to upset the rear end on the exit of the turn. They're breaking down just under the Rolex bridge. Oh, getting a lot of curb. Don't unsettle the car, just nudge the wall there. Of course, that was where we binned it last year. Managed to crash the game. But in towards the hairpin. Pretty brave on the brakes through there. Try and pinch second gear on the way out there and get on the throttle nice and tidy. We're still only about a tenth and a half up. There's certainly a little bit more time to find right at the end of this lap here. I think that's... Is that Valtteri Bottas or is that an Alpine behind us? I think it's an Alpine, in fact. In towards the final chicane. They're really brave on the way in there. Get it right up to the wall on the way out. We have found another couple of tenths. Is it going to help us, though? I don't think it's going to boost us up the order there. P12, actually, in the end. We'll take that quite happily. Well, there we go then. The end of Q2. They're finishing once again right behind Pierre Gasly, but Hamilton into Q3 on a medium compound tyres there. It was very impressive indeed. It is still just that consistent top 5 teams, though. They're making it through into Q3 week in, week out at the moment. McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Aston Martin there as Alpine, AlphaTauri and ourselves, or myself this time around it appears, squabbling just outside of the top 10. They're trying to use the, the better race strategy to get ourselves up into the points there. But P12, another decent showing. Let's dive in to the Canadian Grand Prix.
Hello and welcome to the Ile Notre Dame once again for what promises to be another incredible Canadian Grand Prix at a fiercely competitive circuit, where pole position can often be decided by less than a tenth of a second. With top speeds of around 210 miles per hour heading into the overtaking opportunity of turn 13, the 2.7 miles of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve are some of the quickest on the Formula One calendar. There are 14 corners in total, with 60% of the lap taken at full throttle, and average lap speeds clock in at about 130 miles per hour. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Anthony Davidson. Thanks for joining us, Ant, and tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, they'll be the ones that are better off.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Daniel Ricciardo slotting in alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Sainz, Perez, Tsunoda, Russell and Lance Stroll, Gasly, Mr. Monaco, Fernando Alonso, and Joe. Ocon, Bottas, Nicholas Latifi, and Mick Schumacher. Giovinazzi, Schwartzman, Lundgaard, and Nikita Mazepin. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Well, here we are then, ready on the grid for round 5 of the year from the Canadian Grand Prix. Already a quarter of the way through Season 2 here on F1 2021. But the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve always been a one, you know, close to my heart on the Formula 1 calendar here. But like Anthony Davidson said, looking very, very cool in terms of the track temperature here today. Fingers crossed that we can keep it clean and tidy there. Soft, medium, soft for this one here. Let's just dive right into it then. Round 5 of the year from the Canadian Grand Prix, starting just outside of the top 10. It's 5 red lights. And it is a mighty long hole, but it is lights out. And away we go, trying to avoid the wheel spin off the start, but that has not happened. So we head down towards turn 1, just ease it through the first corner, try and recover some of those spots. And look at that, finding the room around the outside there to recover back up into P12 off the start of this Grand Prix there. Try and go side by side with Gasly on the exit there as we build up some tyre temp. Oh, Gasly though having none of that as we head through the chicane. Very, very close between the pair of us there as Alonso holds on ahead of Guan Yu Zhou on his medium compound tyres, but bit of a scary start there. A couple of near misses with a couple of other people there. The wolves, of course, around this Canadian Grand Prix circuit, always there ready to bite you if you just overstep the mark, even by just a little bit here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. But we have survived the start of the Grand Prix there. It looks like it is still Hamilton that leads the way. Obviously, Daniel Ricciardo took his very first Formula 1 Grand Prix victory here last season for McLaren, I should add, as up the inside of Gasly we accidentally go at the hairpin. Didn't want to run to the back of him. We'll take the dive bomb, and we're up into 11th then. But yeah, McLaren, like I said, very, very strong around this track last year. Seemed to be pretty good in qualifying, but it seems like the Red Bull of Verstappen's got the better of him off the start. Homeboy Lance Stroll just in front of us as we head out the hairpin on lap 2 here. Is the Aston Martin going to go defensive? Not defensive enough. Down in towards the final chicane here. Oh, Stroll want to come across me. They're giving me no room at all. There's the Canadian. The AI are playing dirty today, it appears. Not wanting to give an inch, but we've taken P10 now and up into the points.
This lap. You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
I don't think we're going to get within 1 second of Tsunoda anytime soon. I'm just a guess. Didn't think I'd say that based on last year, but such is Mercedes' interesting hiring tactics on F1 2021.
Green flag.
Yellow flag's out. Someone's got issues. I think it's... Is it one of the Alpha Taurus or is it someone else? It doesn't appear to be anything. Very, very weird. Guessing it was just some Constantina and up there. We've gained a lot of time over Gasly and Alonso, who were battling out. There, Alonso now up to 12. Look at that, 3 seconds in a lap. As Stroll and I try to hang on to the coattails of the guys in front.
You're in the top 10 now. Keep it up.
Tsunoda just not making any impact early on in this Grand Prix there. He just doesn't seem to be able to attack the cars in front of him in that Mercedes. And I'll be honest, I don't want to have to sit around waiting behind him in this Grand Prix. To the outside, in towards the final chicane. Don't think we're going to be able to make anything work here. But we'll try and get a good run on the exit there. Really roll on the power nice and aggressively. They're just a bit too much wheel spin though out of the final turn.
For a new strategy option. We're leading our teammate by 9.2 seconds.
It was aggressive, but I'm having it. We get past Tsunoda. I think Stroll's trying to look past him as well. There was a big old lunge in towards turn 1. We just ran a bit deep through the corner, but I'm having it. There is all Stroll and Tsunoda just saw behind us, getting all a bit too close together. The AI, yeah, playing aggressive today, and I'm saying I had to match it. That's what I'm going with. Well, Russell thought about it on Perez in towards 1 there. Big lock up from young George. So we are trying to look around the outside there. Not quite anything working this time around. Definitely feel though now, obviously with that race victory, that people are starting to become more aware of us here in this series, and I think we can start to hold our own a bit more and hang on to guys that are struggling in some of the better cars. We're not far away performance-wise from a lot more of these higher-up runners, but we'll wait and see what we can do. Oh, Russell out of nowhere into the pits at the end of lap 7. Guess he was told by Aston Martin, do whatever Checo doesn't in this Grand Prix then.
Approaching the pit window, you'll be on the mediums.
We've got quite a few more laps though before our stop. We're not coming in until lap 10 in this race, but we'll wait and see. And Checo behind him, he's sliding around everywhere in that Red Bull. Surely he's going to be pitting in at the end of this one, unless Verstappen, of course, wants to dive it in there. I think that's the first corner I haven't seen him get loads of wheel spin on so far this lap, so fingers crossed. You know, Red Bull not a particularly great car down the straight still on F1 2021. Let's see if we can try and get a run on the Honda-powered car there. Rolling on the power nicely on the exit. Use some ERS here, get some DRS as well, and surely this is going to be a done deal there around the outside of Sergio Perez. Big old squeeze towards the wall, but we do make it work. We've got even more into the pits just in front of us. Is Checo going to dive it in? No, he's not. So Sergio having to stay out another lap there. Verstappen has taken the first call. Went up to 4th in this race. Surely we're about to see Sainz and Norris into the pit lane there. But saying that, Hamilton stayed out another lap. There we go. The McLaren and the Ferrari into the pit lane. Do not want to slide that much out of the final quarter there, but now into P2 of this race. We're going to dive in the end of this one, but Hamilton, yeah, of course he's on mediums, isn't he? After Q2, so Hamilton, yeah, looks strong today. Schwartzman in as well.
Is coming in for his stop.
Right, into the pits we're about to come, though, in this race. You can see there is still a lot of back markers in the way of some of the guys we were battling with, so fingers crossed they've held them up just a little bit. Nice and tidy into the pits, though. That's what we like to see. Fingers crossed we can get through clean and tidy and come back out without losing too many spots there. I can see Tsunoda and George Russell where they are in this race as we head into the pit box. No front wing damage, luckily. 2.6, don't short shift up too early as they're going to fly past us, but of course we got the better run through turn 1 and turn 2. Nice and easy on the power. How close are we going to be? We have been jumped by him, but we need to get out ahead of Mazepin as we just slot back in pretty much where we were again in this race, but on slightly fresher rubber than the two in front of us, and a lot of back markers still to navigate. Oh, you can see Schumacher there getting in the way of the Ferraris. Schumacher just ran right around the outside there by Carlos Sainz. But what is going to happen now is everyone trying to use the DRS to close in on each other. Tsunoda, though, not making any inroads on George Russell. We're making great gains on the pair of them. Everyone, though, pretty tidy in through the final chicane there. I say everyone. We were not. Oh, Russell now trying to get to the inside of young Mick Schumacher here, and I think he's pulled it off this time round. Just about gets in front of the Haas car there, as we and Tsunoda certainly need to be trying to get behind him as well. Schumacher goes defensive on Tsunoda down in towards the hairpin. Hopefully we're going to try and capitalise on this, go really deep on the way in. Hope we can try and get a power down on the way out. That hasn't quite worked as well as I would have wanted. But surely, yeah, the Haas is still going to be a sitting duck. So we head out onto the back straightaway. That's 3 cars that have gone round him. And about as many corners here, and now the battle can continue. A couple more of the medium runners into the pits there as all Schumacher almost into the back of us, as that is another horrible run through the final chicane. We're back up into 8th, though. Trying to get a run on Tsunoda again in this race. I just don't think he's willing to challenge George Russell all too much there. It's to the inside we go. Tsunoda just questioning whether we'll actually do it or not. As we park it.
Good job, nice overtake.
Team happy with that one, and we've actually left Tsunoda a bit vulnerable to Stroll behind. Next up then, George Russell.
Behind is 12.3 seconds.
Right, 1 lap later then, all over the back of George Russell, trying to make light work of as many cars as possible here as we've got yellow flags out. That's one of the Hasses going slowly there, as to the inside of George Russell we go. And that's going to be pretty much the same move as we did a lap ago. I think though, yeah, one of the Hasses is going to be out of this race. So it looks to be Mick Schumacher then. Has the engine gone boom? It doesn't appear to have gone up in smoke, but it does seem to be... Oh, there we go. Yep, there's the famous Ferrari smoke that we've seen quite often so far this year. There, Mick Schumacher out of the Canadian Grand Prix, and another Ferrari power unit failure. Weirdly enough, actually, as we fly past Mick Schumacher's stricken car, we've seen a couple of Ferrari power unit failures this year. Obviously, we had quite a few last year. Haas have had quite a few. Have Alfa Romeo had one at all? Have Alfa Romeo just been getting all the good engines from Ferrari? Because every other team seems to have had quite a few that I can remember. Alfa Romeo, though, none off the top of my head. We've been given a bit of a lifeline over the last few laps there. Once we got past George Russell, him and Tsunoda actually got stuck in a bit of a battle. They've then fallen outside the 1 second mark and have continued to battle it out as well. So we've been able to sort of find ourselves in a bit of no man's land here. We're not really closing in on the Ferraris. To be honest, I don't think our battle today would ever going to be with the Ferraris. But... if we can bring home this result...
By 15.9 seconds.
16 seconds clear of Robert after 20 laps is not bad going. He's stuck with the back markers today. I don't know what's happened to him. But yeah, if we can bring home a result like this, I'd be very, very happy. There we go. Carlos Sainz, one of the first men to blink and head back down into the pit lane here. As we head out of the final corner once again there. Sainz and Hamilton actually both into the pit, so they go mediums to the end. We want to try and extend this stint just a few more. Try and get some soft tyres to the end of this Grand Prix there, as Hamilton is actually going to come out just ahead of all that traffic. That's critical for his race. He needed to be ahead of all those guys. There we go, and now the top three are all into the pits as well, so they're all going mediums to the end here of this Grand Prix as we try not to hit the outside wall again. Oh, look at that, Hamilton really kicking the back end out of the final corner there, trying to hold his lead in this Grand Prix here. Where is he going to re-emerge in comparison to Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo here? He has got the jump on him, and by just a little bit as well, of course, and with some warmed up rubber, he might be able to pull away there. Schwartzman in the pits again. I think we all know Hamilton is not the man we're battling with here today. His Mercedes teammate, Yuki Tsunoda, yes, but not Hamilton. He's going to get a big run in us out of the final corner there, and we're, yeah, just going to hold our own line. We're in our own race.
You'll be on the softs.
I mean, he's gone 1.5 seconds quicker on that lap than we have in the entirety of this Grand Prix. So, yeah, certainly not a man to mess with today. As now we've got Verstappen and Ricciardo behind us as well. Don't really want to interfere too much with this battle. Oh, here comes Verstappen to the outside in towards the hairpin. Again, know who our battles are really with today there, but we won't just sit behind him. He will get right around the outside, though, on the exit of the hairpin. Is Ricciardo going to get the same? So we head down the back straightaway here. Again, we won't use any battery, may as well save a little bit as well. At this stage of the Grand Prix there, Ricciardo, is he going to go to the inside? Yes, he is. We're just going to lift out of that. But Ricciardo lifts out even earlier. What is that from the Australian? Very, very weird. He will finally get past us there, but he's completely screwed himself. The king of dive bombs.
Lost the position. That's us down a place.
The king of dive bombs wouldn't go for a simple move down the inside. Very, very weird. Jeff just came over the radio saying the tyres are still in good condition here, but I don't think it's worth risking trying to drag them through to the end of this Grand Prix here. 9 laps to go. We are going to peel it back into the pit lane. Ooh, that was close, I must admit. Went a bit quiet there, thought we might have just sped ever so slightly into that pit lane, but we did just about get it slowed down in time there. You can see both Ferraris are going to fly past us. I'm a bit worried Tsunoda as well might have got the undercut on us in this race. Especially doing that in the pits is not going to help us out there. A 2.3 second stop isn't too shabby. We should stay out ahead of the Astons, but where are we going to come out in comparison to Yuki Tsunoda? There goes the Mercedes through turn 1. To the outside, though, of the young Japanese driver there as he doesn't slam the door. We do get a good run up the hill, so we're still battling it out with Yuki Tsunoda in this Grand Prix there. Somehow hold it around the outside there on the fresher, quicker rubber. And oh, look at that, Tsunoda tries to get back up the inside there. I wasn't expecting him to get a run there. We jump out the way a little bit, but we have made the move work. And surely now, yeah, P6 is ours to the end. For a reason as well, Carlos Sainz has actually been put on a set of hard tyres to the end of this Grand Prix.
Ahead is 5.1 seconds.
And the team know it as well. They're giving us the gap update already there. We might be able to get P5 here. Look at that, just 1 lap later, near enough 2 seconds taken out of Sainz.
Strong, but be aware your tyres need to go the distance.
Almost setting fast lap of the Grand Prix, but the team are right. We do need to try and focus on keeping these tyres in good shape to the end. 7 to go here, though. We want to get P5. Right, 5 to go then, and we are now definitely within hunting range of Carlos Sainz here with a bit of DRS. Maybe a splash of ERS as well. Surely, yeah, the Ferrari's not going to be able to do anything here. We've got so much more grip on these fresher, quicker tyres there. Not really too sure what they were thinking to put Sainz onto those hards. I'm just guessing they didn't think we'd be a threat to the end of the Grand Prix here, but we certainly are. And we are all over the back of Carlos. Right, come on then, let's try and get a run with just 4 to go. In towards the hairpin. Hopefully we'll get right under his gearbox there. A little bit of understeer on the way in. But we should be able to get the power down on the way out there. And you can see we're just able to stick so much closer to Carlos Sainz on those hard tyres here. DRS activated. Let's just get a big run down around the outside. No dramatics. To the outside of Carlos Sainz there. Clean past him. In towards the final chicane. And out of nowhere, up at a P5. Team loving that as well. And this could be 10 big championship points on the board. Well, on to the final lap then of the Canadian Grand Prix, and what a turnaround it's been once again there. I knew we wouldn't be able to emulate the performance in Baku unless we got a huge amount of luck once more. But this weekend again, we've really, I think, outperformed ourselves there. Everything sort of fell into place over the course of the race here today. Hamilton is going to come through for win number 3 of the year after a couple of second places there. Back on top once more there. Verstappen P2, Ricciardo in 3rd there with Charles Leclerc, and then we come through P5 at the end of the day. I said after Monaco we needed a turnaround of form here, and since then a win and another double digits points all as well. It's absolutely things you love to see. Out of the final corner here at Canada, It's going to be P5 there. You'll love to see it.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
A truly magnificent drive then, and a great performance from the entire team to secure victory here in Canada. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They did a great job at getting the most out of their tyres without losing pace, something that's a very handy skill to have in modern day Formula 1.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula 1.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Canadian Grand Prix there, and it is once more Hamilton who picks up yet another dub to further extend his title lead there. Verstappen a very good P2, very, very close there. Red Bull still yet to win a race, and I'm sure, yeah, Verstappen will want to be trying to do that sooner rather than later there. Ricciardo couldn't emulate the same success of last season, but still another podium for him. What's that, his 4th podium of the year there. It's been fantastic form from the McLaren man so far there. Charles Leclerc 4th ahead of myself in 5th. At the end of the day, they really made the soft tyres work towards the end there in our favour ahead of Carlos Sainz there. Tsunoda, another disappointing day in 7th, just 30 seconds off his teammate. What can be done there? The young Japanese driver just lacking that raw speed that he needs at this stage of the season there. Russell, Perez and Stroll rounding out your top 10 there, so the Canadian did score a point at his home event there. Lando Norris, I'm sure, disappointed down in 11th there ahead of Gasly. Alonso, Guan Yu Zhou, Esteban Ocon there. Schwartzman down with the back markers. What went wrong with him this weekend? There's surely questions got to be raised about his contract renewal coming up just after the halfway stage of the year there. And you can see Mazepin a lap down, Schumacher the only man not to make it to the checkered flag as well there. It does mean championship-wise Hamilton 55 clear of Daniel Ricciardo there as Verstappen leapfrogs his way up into P3 of the standings there. A brilliant battle going on for best of the rest there. Like I said, Verstappen jumps to Leclerc, 1 point between them, and then Sainz in P5 there ahead of Yuki Tsunoda and myself. They're tied with Lando Norris now, so that is certainly going to be a battle to watch out for as well over the course of the year. George Russell, 3 points clear of his teammate Lance Stroll, as they seem to swap and change every single week at the moment. Perez ahead now of Pierre Gasly as well, which he desperately needs to do in that Red Bull against the AlphaTauri there. No other movers further down the order. Constructors-wise, Mercedes still 55 clear of Ferrari. They're 1 point ahead of McLaren. And Red Bull surely are going to be in that battle later on this year as well there. But we're solidifying ourselves in P5 at the moment, ahead of Aston Martin and AlphaTauri as well there. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and yeah, we'll be back tomorrow ready for the French Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. None of these videos would be possible without the support of our channel members, so a massive thank you to The Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David Bennett, Ben Meekins and Aiden C97 for becoming channel members. If you want to be featured in these little clips, click the join button down below.